What are all secure design patterns? Secure design patterns are architectural blueprints or templates that help developers create secure software systems by incorporating security best practices into the design process. These patterns address common security challenges and vulnerabilities, providing proven solutions to mitigate risks and protect against potential threats. Here are some common secure design patterns. Layered security, also known as defense in depth. This pattern involves implementing multiple layers of security controls to protect against different types of attacks. Each layer serves as a barrier that must be breached by attackers, reducing the likelihood of a successful breach. Least privilege. This pattern restricts access rights and permissions to the minimum level necessary for users or processes to perform their tasks. By limiting access to only essential resources, the impact of potential security breaches is minimized. Secure communication. Use encryption and secure protocols, e.g., HTTPS, SSL/TLS, to protect data transmitted over networks from eavesdropping and tampering. Implement mechanisms for authentication, integrity verification, and confidentiality to ensure secure communication. Input validation. Validate and sanitize all user inputs to prevent common vulnerabilities such as SQL injection, cross-site scripting, XSS, and command injection. Use input validation libraries and frameworks to enforce strict validation rules and sanitize user-supplied data. Authentication and authorization. Implement robust authentication mechanisms to verify the identity of users and enforce access control policies to determine what actions they are allowed to perform. Use strong authentication methods, e.g., multi-factor authentication, and enforce least privilege principles to minimize the risk of unauthorized access. Secure configuration. Harden the security configuration of systems, frameworks, and libraries to eliminate unnecessary services, disable default accounts and passwords, and apply security patches and updates regularly. Follow industry best practices and security guidelines to configure systems securely. Secure session management. Use secure session management techniques to protect session identifiers, prevent session fixation attacks, and enforce session timeouts and reauthentication for sensitive operations. Implement mechanisms for session encryption, integrity protection, and secure cookie handling. Audit logging and monitoring. Implement comprehensive logging and monitoring mechanisms to record security-relevant events, detect suspicious activities, and facilitate forensic analysis and incident response. Log security events such as authentication attempts, access control failures, and critical system operations. Secure error handling. Implement secure error handling mechanisms to provide informative error messages to users without revealing sensitive information about the system or its configuration. Handle errors gracefully and log detailed error information for troubleshooting and analysis. Secure data storage. Use encryption and strong cryptographic algorithms to protect sensitive data at rest, such as passwords, personal information, and financial data. Implement secure storage mechanisms to prevent unauthorized access, tampering, and data leakage. Secure coding practices. Follow secure coding practices and guidelines to write secure and resilient code, such as input validation, output encoding, error handling, and secure memory management. Use secure coding standards and static code analysis tools to identify and remediate security vulnerabilities early in the development lifecycle. Security by design. Incorporate security considerations into the design phase of the software development lifecycle, SDLC, and apply security principles and patterns systematically throughout the development process. Conduct threat modeling, risk assessments, and security reviews to identify and address security risks proactively. These are just a few examples of secure design patterns. By adopting secure design patterns and integrating security into the design and development process, organizations can build software systems that are resilient to security threats and protect sensitive information from unauthorized access, disclosure, and exploitation. What are all information visualization design patterns? Information visualization design patterns are reusable solutions to common design problems encountered when visualizing data. These patterns help designers and developers create effective and intuitive visualizations that communicate insights and facilitate understanding of complex datasets. Here are some common information visualization design patterns. Bar chart represents categorical data using rectangular bars of varying lengths, useful for comparing the values of different categories. Line chart displays trends or patterns over time by connecting data points with straight lines, ideal for showing continuous data series. Pie chart divides a circle into slices to represent proportions of a whole, suitable for showing the composition or distribution of categories. Scatter plot plots individual data points along two axes to visualize relationships between variables, useful for identifying correlations or clusters in data. Heat map represents data values using color gradients to visualize patterns or trends across two dimensions, effective for identifying areas of high or low concentration. Tree map displays hierarchical data using nested rectangles, with the size of each rectangle representing a quantitative value, useful for visualizing hierarchical structures and comparing proportions. Sankey diagram shows the flow or distribution of resources, relationships, or processes using interconnected nodes and directed links, useful for visualizing complex systems or networks. Tree diagram represents hierarchical relationships using a branching structure with nodes and edges connecting parent and child nodes, useful for displaying organizational structures or taxonomies. Word cloud visualizes text data by arranging words or phrases in varying sizes based on their frequency or importance, effective for identifying key themes or trends in textual data. Choropleth map uses color gradients or shading to represent data values across geographic regions, suitable for visualizing spatial patterns or distributions. Parallel coordinates displays multivariate data by plotting each data point as a line segment across multiple parallel axes, useful for exploring relationships between multiple variables. Bubble chart represents data points as circles, where the size of each circle represents a quantitative value and the position represents two other variables, effective for visualizing three-dimensional data. Network graph visualizes relationships between entities as nodes and edges in a network, useful for exploring connections or dependencies in complex systems. Sparklines, miniature line charts embedded within text or tables to provide a visual summary of trends or patterns, useful for displaying data in constrained spaces. Small multiples displays multiple instances of the same visualization with different data subsets, arranged in a grid or matrix, effective for comparing patterns across multiple datasets. These are just a few examples of information visualization design patterns. Designers and developers can combine and adapt these patterns to create customized visualizations that effectively communicate insights and facilitate data-driven decision-making. What are all business model design patterns? Business model design patterns are conceptual frameworks or templates used to create and evaluate business models. They provide a structured approach to designing, analyzing, and optimizing the way a business generates revenue, creates value, and sustains competitive advantage. Here are some common business model design patterns. Subscription model. Customers pay a recurring fee at regular intervals, e.g., monthly or annually, to access a product or service. Examples include Netflix, Spotify, and Adobe Creative Cloud. Freemium model offers a basic version of a product or service for free, while charging for premium features or additional functionality. Examples include Dropbox, LinkedIn, and Evernote. Pay-per-use model. Customers pay only for the quantity or duration of usage of a product or service. Examples include pay-as-you-go cloud services, ride-sharing apps like Uber, and utility metering. Marketplace model facilitates transactions between buyers and sellers by providing a platform or marketplace. Revenue is typically generated through transaction fees, commissions, or subscriptions. Examples include eBay, Airbnb, and Etsy. Affiliate model generates revenue by referring customers to other businesses or products and earning a commission on resulting sales. Examples include affiliate marketing programs and referral programs offered by e-commerce websites. Advertising model offers products or services for free or at a reduced price and generates revenue through advertising. Examples include Google, Facebook, and YouTube. License or royalty model grants permission to use intellectual property or proprietary technology in exchange for a licensing fee or royalty payments. Examples include software licensing agreements and patent licensing agreements. Direct sales model sells products or services directly to customers through owned or operated channels, such as retail stores, e-commerce websites, or sales representatives. Examples include Apple, Walmart, and Tesla. Franchise model allows independent operators, franchisees, to use the brand, products, and business model of a larger company, franchisor, in exchange for fees and royalties. Examples include McDonald's, Subway, and Starbucks. Crowdfunding model raises capital by soliciting small contributions from a large number of individuals or organizations, typically through online platforms. Examples include Kickstarter, Indiegogo, and GoFundMe. B2B, business-to-business, model sells products or services to other businesses or organizations rather than individual consumers. Examples include enterprise software companies, business consulting firms, and manufacturers. B2C, business-to-consumer, model sells products or services directly to individual consumers. Examples include retail stores, e-commerce websites, and consumer electronics companies. These are just a few examples of business model design patterns. Businesses often combine and adapt these patterns to create unique and innovative business models that suit their specific goals, market conditions, and customer needs. What are all web design patterns? Web design patterns are reusable solutions to common design problems encountered in web development. These patterns help designers and developers create intuitive, user-friendly, and consistent web interfaces. Here are some common web design patterns. Header/footer. The header typically contains the website's branding, navigation menu, and search functionality, while the footer includes additional navigation links, contact information, and copyright notices. Navigation menu provides users with a structured way to navigate the website's content, usually displayed as a horizontal or vertical list of links. Hero banner, a large, prominently placed image or slideshow at the top of a web page, often used to showcase key content or promote featured products/services. Card layout organizes content into visually distinct cards or tiles, each containing a snippet of information, image, and call to action. Commonly used for displaying product listings, blog posts, or portfolio items. Grid layout arranges content in a grid-based structure, allowing for flexible and responsive layout designs. Useful for displaying images, articles, or product thumbnails. Modal window, a temporary overlay window that appears on top of the web page to display additional information, forms, or alerts without navigating away from the current page. Tabs organizes content into multiple sections or categories, with each section accessible via clickable tabs. Enables users to switch between different sets of information without reloading the page. Accordion conserves vertical space by hiding content behind collapsible panels, which expand or collapse when clicked. Useful for displaying FAQs, product features, or lengthy content sections. Carousel/slider displays a rotating series of images or content panels in a slideshow format, allowing users to navigate between items using navigation arrows or pagination dots. Sticky/fixed navigation keeps the navigation menu or other elements fixed at the top or side of the viewport as the user scrolls down the page, ensuring easy access to important navigation links. Call to action, CTA, button, prominently placed buttons or links that encourage users to take a specific action, such as signing up, making a purchase, or downloading a resource. Form design organizes form fields and input elements in a logical and user-friendly manner, with clear labels, validation feedback, and intuitive input controls. Infinite scroll automatically loads more content as the user scrolls down the page, eliminating the need for pagination and providing a seamless browsing experience for content-heavy websites. Responsive design adapts the layout and content of the website to different screen sizes and devices, ensuring optimal viewing and usability on desktops, tablets, and smartphones. Progressive disclosure reveals information gradually as needed, reducing clutter and cognitive overload by hiding advanced options or less frequently accessed content until requested by the user. These are just a few examples of web design patterns. Designers and developers often combine and customize these patterns to create unique and engaging web experiences that meet the specific needs and goals of their projects. Secure usability patterns. Secure usability patterns are design principles and guidelines aimed at enhancing the security and usability of software systems. These patterns focus on integrating security features seamlessly into the user experience, minimizing user friction while ensuring that sensitive data and operations remain protected. Here are some common secure usability patterns. Clear and informative feedback. Provide clear and informative feedback to users about security-related actions, such as successful login attempts, failed authentication, or access restrictions. Use concise and non-technical language to communicate security alerts and warnings effectively. Progressive disclosure. Implement progressive disclosure techniques to present security-related information and options gradually, based on the user's context and needs. Avoid overwhelming users with complex security settings or controls up front, and provide additional details or options only when necessary. Contextual help and guidance. Offer contextual help and guidance to users when performing security-sensitive tasks, such as setting up account security features, configuring privacy settings, or handling sensitive data. Provide step-by-step instructions, tooltips, or contextual prompts to assist users in making informed security decisions. Consistent and predictable behavior. Ensure that security features and controls behave consistently across different parts of the application and adhere to established user interface conventions. Maintain predictability in user interactions to prevent confusion or errors, especially when handling sensitive operations or data. Minimal friction authentication. Balance security requirements with user convenience by implementing authentication mechanisms that offer minimal friction while maintaining adequate protection against unauthorized access. Consider options such as biometric authentication, single sign-on, SSO, or passwordless authentication to streamline the login process without compromising security. Role-based access control. RBC. Implement role-based access control, RBC, mechanisms to enforce granular access permissions based on user roles and responsibilities. Design intuitive user interfaces for managing roles and permissions, allowing administrators to assign or revoke access rights efficiently. Transparent security measures. Incorporate transparent security measures into the user experience without disrupting usability. For example, use secure encryption protocols for data transmission and storage, enforce strong password policies behind the scenes, and employ automated security checks and validations to protect against common threats. User-centric privacy controls. Empower users with user-centric privacy controls that allow them to manage their privacy preferences and consent settings effectively. Provide granular options for controlling data sharing, visibility, and opt-in/opt-out choices, and ensure transparency in how user data is collected, used, and shared. Accessibility and inclusivity. Ensure that security features and controls are accessible and inclusive for users with diverse needs and abilities. Design user interfaces that accommodate different input methods, assistive technologies, and accessibility standards, making it easier for all users to interact with security-related elements. Continuous education and awareness. Foster a culture of continuous education and awareness around security best practices among users. Offer easily accessible resources, training materials, and interactive tutorials to help users understand common security risks, recognize phishing attempts, and protect their accounts and data effectively. These secure usability patterns can help organizations strike a balance between security and usability, creating software systems that prioritize both user experience and data protection. By incorporating these patterns into the design and development process, organizations can enhance the security posture of their applications while maintaining a positive user experience. What are all user interface design patterns? User interface design patterns are reusable solutions to common design problems encountered in interface design. These patterns help designers create intuitive, user-friendly interfaces by providing proven solutions to recurring challenges. Here are some common user interface design patterns. Navigation patterns. Menu bar, a horizontal or vertical bar containing navigation links to different sections or pages of the application. Tabs, horizontal or vertical tabs used to organize content into different sections, allowing users to switch between them easily. Sidebar navigation, a vertical menu or sidebar used to navigate through different sections or categories of content. Input patterns. Form design organizes form fields and input elements in a logical and user-friendly manner with clear labels and intuitive input controls. Autocomplete provides suggestions or predictions as users type into input fields, speeding up the data entry process. Date Picker allows users to select dates from a calendar widget, ensuring accuracy and ease of use. Feedback patterns. Toast/alerts, brief messages that appear temporarily to provide feedback on user actions or system status. Validation messages, messages that inform users about errors or validation issues when submitting forms or inputting data. Loading indicators, visual cues, e.g., spinners, progress bars, that indicate when the system is processing or loading content. Content patterns. Cards, visual containers that group related content together, often containing images, text, and action buttons. Grid view displays content in a grid layout, allowing users to scan and navigate through items easily. List view presents content in a vertical list format, suitable for displaying sequential or hierarchical information. Interaction patterns. Drag and drop allows users to move or rearrange elements by clicking and dragging them with the mouse pointer. Swipe gestures enables users to navigate through content by swiping left or right on touch-enabled devices. Infinite scroll automatically loads more content as users scroll down the page, providing a seamless browsing experience. Navigation patterns. Wizard guides users through a step-by-step process, breaking complex tasks into smaller, more manageable steps. Breadcrumbs shows users their current location within a website's hierarchy and allows them to navigate back to previous pages. Layout patterns. Grid layout organizes content into rows and columns, providing a structured and responsive layout. Card layout groups related content into visually distinct cards or tiles, facilitating content organization and presentation. Search patterns. Search bar provides users with a text input field to search for specific content within the application. Faceted search allows users to filter search results based on predefined criteria or facets, narrowing down the results to relevant items. These are just a few examples of user interface design patterns. Designers can leverage these patterns and adapt them to suit the specific needs and requirements of their projects, resulting in interfaces that are intuitive, efficient, and user-friendly.